1,
2,
3,
4.
Monster movie.
Fun time, go! Monster movie.
Fun time, go. Monster.
Movie.
Fun time.
Go!
Monster movie. Fun time, go.
With Precious D and Honey Bee.
Fun time, go!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and neighbors, welcome to Monster Movie Fun Time Go. I'm one of your hosts, Precious D.
And I am the other one of your hosts, Honey Bee.
Honey Bee, tell the people who we are.
We are two best friends making this podcast for you guys about kaiju movies. We are going in chronological order. We started in 1933 with King Kong, and today we are in 2008? Question mark?
Yes.
What year are we in? Yeah, 2008 with Reigo, King of the Sea Monsters.
Yes, this movie has like 4 different titles. But
yeah, seriously, I did not know if I was watching the right movie for like a hot minute because there are so many different titles.
yeah, we'll get to that in a minute though. First, Honeybee, I wanted to say last month was our 3rd anniversary of this podcast.
Yay!
Of this podcast,
Happy
ladies and gentlemen. We are not married. It is our podcast anniversary. Not our wedding anniversary. We are not married. But we were at G-Fest. We didn't get it acknowledged at the time. We were at G-Fest on the day that was the actual anniversary. The 16th was when we uploaded our first episode 3 years ago. So,
Wow.
Honeybee, any thoughts on that?
Holy balls, really. I just can't believe it's been 3 years. That is the coolest shit ever. We are the coolest shit ever.
Now, I also wanted to say, folks, we're under the gun today because of going to G-Fest, and then I got the COVID, and
No.
with Honeybee's schedule, we're recording this on Friday. It's uploading Saturday, so this episode's not going to be as nicely edited as it usually is, folks. There might be some pauses, there might be some ers. What do you want for nothing? You folks listening, you have no idea how much time I spend cleaning this show up to make it nice for you. But today, you take what you get and you don't throw a fit.
Yeah, you're getting it raw, baby.
Yeah, you are. So, but let's talk about G-Fest a little bit.
Yeah.
This was our 2nd year going. We sat on a panel, the Mothra anniversary Mothra versus Godzilla, which if you listen every week, you've already heard it. I uploaded that panel as an episode. Any highlights of this year's G-Fest for you, Honeybee?
Oh man, I will say the panel was definitely a highlight for me, even though I was so terrified. I was trying not to shit in the middle of the floor. It was so scary, but it was so fun. And we even got to talk to like some people after the panel who just like came up and asked questions, which was way less scary and really cool. And let's see, what else? Just hanging out with the dudes. That was really fun. We got to like see our kaiju friends and hang out with them, have dinner with them. It was a great year. There were so many people this year, and I think that's just like a mixture of Godzilla -1, Godzilla X Kong, like coming out. You know, this is a good year to be a Godzilla fan.
Definitely.
So it was amazing.
Definitely more people than last year. Definitely why I caught COVID. Wait. Also, there's a new strain going around, and I don't think there was at this time last year. And I tried to get a booster shot before we went, and they wouldn't give me one. They're like, "Oh no, you're good. There's not a new one yet. So."
Yeah, but I think like we heard at some point there was like 20,000 people at G-Fest this year or some shit like that. So, I mean, God, like that's a lot of fucking people. We were shaking hands, kissing babies. You know, it was bound to happen.
Licking the floor.
Like you do.
So, Judas Priest. Well, my highlight was when that lady came up to me.
Tell us the story.
Yeah,
Precious.
so
Tell us the story.
I did not catch her name. So, if Roll20 lady, if you are listening, send us a message, drop us an email, record us a message at mmftg.com. Say hello. Tell us your name. So, last year, I did a panel on kaiju in tabletop role-playing games, and just went through just every role-playing game about kaiju or with kaiju in it that I was aware of. And after the panel in the hallway, this lady came up to me and she told me she enjoyed the panel, and that she mentioned that she wants to play role-playing games, but either she didn't have anyone to play with, or nobody she knew wanted to play, or what. She was having trouble finding a game. So I told her about Roll20. Roll20.net, ladies and gentlemen, which is where I play all my online games. And how there are sometimes people on there looking for players. So it's a virtual tabletop. I'm not going to explain the whole thing, but it's a place to play role-playing games online, and sometimes people post there that they're looking for players. So I recommended that she go do that. So this year, after our panel, she ran in. I don't know if she'd been at the panel, but she ran into me again in the hallway. She came up behind me and tapped me on the shoulder and said that she just wanted to thank me for telling her about Roll20, because now she's playing in multiple games every week with people all over the world. And she was going to start playing a regular in-person game too, and how it's changed her life, and she's made new friends from across the world and everything.
She literally had tears in her eyes. It was such a beautiful moment.
She started tearing up, and I got a little misty too, I think, or it certainly warmed my heart. So that was my highlight, because it's nice to know that you had a positive impact on somebody. But we go through life all the time having an impact on people, and sometimes it's positive, sometimes it's negative, but we often never hear, or they never tell us, the positive impact we've had. So it was really nice to hear that, and that was my highlight. So thank you for thanking me, Roll20 lady, and if you're listening, reach out. So that
It was gorgeous. It was such a good moment. It was beautiful. That was definitely a highlight for sure.
We did a number of interviews, some of which I already played, because if you're listening, because of me getting the COVID, we couldn't really record properly. But I still have a few more that I will play. I'll work into some upcoming episodes. We had one with a comic book. Oh, here, the comics right here. I had an interview with the writer of Titanic Creations Presents Soul War. Mac McClintock, I believe, was the gentleman I spoke with. And then my comic book, I bought his comic book trade paperback, and it got wet in the back of my car, Honeybee, on the way back.
Oh,
because
shit.
It's not totally ruined, but it's not pristine anymore. I can still read it, but it's a little. I had put put the bag in the back seat, and some stuff from the cooler leaked out, and it got wet, and I didn't realize it till after I got all the way back home. So
damn it.
that's it. I can still read it, but you know how I am.
Yeah.
I like all my books and comics to be pristine, because I have a problem. And we interviewed a guy from Subaraya Productions. We already played one Ultraman related interview. A guy from Subaraya who was at that same booth. I interviewed him later, and we've got that one to play for you later. So it was a great time was had by all. And
another highlight too was when we got to see our little the little movie that we got to record the year before.
Right.
And that was so fun.
Yes, a couple people recognized me. Did you get recognized?
I don't know. I really ran away from a lot of people.
So a couple times people were like, "Oh, hey, we were in the movie, weren't you?" So, yeah, folks, when Honeybee talks about how scared she was in our panel, I just want you to all know that she has performed in numerous plays on stage over the years.
Yeah.
But for some reason,
I definitely have.
up
Well,
there,
because it's different. It's very different. When you're performing a play, you have everything memorized. You know what you're going to say next. There is no surprise. But when you're public speaking, it is very, very different. And I was not ready.
It is, I believe, still like the number one fear, like over spiders and things. When people ask, what are you most afraid of? Many people still say public speaking. So
I get it.
I do not, but we're all different.
Yeah, it was scary.
So, but the friends, I wanted to mention the friends we hung out with were Jay Key and Ryan Wilhelm from Kaiju Go, which is coming up in a few weeks in Dallas at the historic Texas Theater. Go to kaijugo.com. We are official sponsors this year. There are still tickets available. It'll be all kinds of fun.
Yeah, we fucking love those guys.
Yeah. So anyway, let us now move on to this movie, which
you can say it. Just say it. You can say it.
No, just the names. The names.
Oh, okay.
So I don't. You're not old enough to remember Raymond J. Johnson Jr., are you, Honeybee? You've never seen Raymond J. Johnson Jr. This was a character that a comedian had in the 70s that was sort of a running bit that he would just show up on different shows, and he had a Bud Light commercial or Miller or something. I don't know. He had a beer commercial. So the bit was he would say, "My name is Raymond J. Johnson Jr." And then at some point somebody would say, "Well, Mr. Johnson," and he'd go, "Oh, you doesn't have to call me Mr. Johnson. Now, you can call me Ray, or you can call me Jay, or you can call me Ray J, or you can call me RJ." He would go on for quite a bit about all the variation. But you doesn't have to call me Johnson. So to me, this movie is, well, you can call me Deep Sea Monster Reigo, or you can call me Shinkaiju Reigo, or you can call me Reigo the Deep Sea Monster versus the Battleship Yamato, or you can call me Reigo King of the Sea Monsters. Yes, that is how many fucking names this movie has. Unnecessary, people. Unnecessary.
Hysterical. I thought you were going to say that he wore an eye patch, because at some point in this movie, just a random guy with an eye patch just shows up, and I was like, who the fuck is this guy?
He didn't even need it. It was just a fashion piece. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
So the original Japanese title is Shinkaiju Reigo, which I believe just means New Kaiju Reigo. So he's just like, "Hey, everybody, I made a new kaiju. Please watch it." Now, if you're unaware, ladies and gentlemen, the Battleship Yamato is a famous real battleship that this is not the first time it has been fictionalized. When I was a kid, there was a popular cartoon called Star Blazers. That was the American. It was an anime. It was one of the earliest imported animes.
Okay.
You know, before it just exploded, and now every anime ends up over here in America. You know, there was just a few that were on American broadcast television that had been dubbed into English. And but I think the Japanese title was Battleship Yamato, and Star Blazers was the American title, because Americans don't know what the Battleship Yamato is. But in that cartoon, they need to build a spaceship in a hurry for reasons, and they drag up I think the Battleship Yamato is still underwater, but in the cartoon they pull it up out of the water and use that as the framework for this spaceship. They turn this World War II battleship into a spaceship.
Wow.
So we used to freaking love Star Blazers. It has a great theme song. I don't have time to edit this episode, folks, so I will not insert a clip of the theme song here. Just go on YouTube and listen to it. It is awesome. This movie, as we said, is 81 minutes. It's from 2008. It's from 81 minutes. It's from Japan. Directed by Shinpei Hayashiya, written by him and Kita Torumi, and it stars Yukijiro Hotaru as Hajime Edo, excuse me. Mayo Oriyama as Matsuri Edo. Mao Yurata as Hibari Edo. Manami Enosawa as Akiri Edo. I don't remember there being that many family members in this movie. Isamu Ego, as it doesn't say. Mickey Curtis. What? As Mickey Kashisu. Ryan Davies as Gaijin Tourist. Kazu Agumi as Customer. Tamanosuke Gomerio as Tamanosuke, and then it lists a bunch of other people with no names. There's a waitress and a policeman. I'm not going to read all those people. There's a shit ton of them listed. Honeybee, initial thoughts on Reigo, whatever we're calling Reigo.
oof. Oh man, I will say, well, I have a positive thing to say about this movie, and that is the design of Reigo is pretty boss.
Right.
I do like the kaiju.
Okay.
It's pretty sick. It's very Godzilla shaped, but there are it's not completely Godzilla shaped because it's also, a sea monster.
Yes.
So, I will say that that's my positive thing to say. And there were points in the movie that I did enjoy. But this is kind of, it's not great. It's not great.
I wanted to mention that the director made sort of a sequel a year later called, it also has multiple titles, Deep Sea Monster Reiga, or Reiga
Yeah,
God. You
I
almost
almost
watched that one?
accidentally watched that, yeah.
We'll be watching it soon. Also called, I'm so sorry, folks. I'm drinking too much soda and burping, but you're not getting any editing this week. And Reiga, God of the Monsters, but it probably has a couple of other titles. And then 10 years later, God Reiga versus King Hoga, Ohga, Ahoga. I'm not sure how that's pronounced. And all three of these movies are available like on all the things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I watched this on YouTube on the Sci-Fi Channel, but heads up, it doesn't have English subtitles. You have to do the auto-translate to English subtitles, which I feel like was kind of a disservice because it felt like there were some things that weren't translated completely right, maybe?
Yeah, Honeybee, you should have watched it on Tubi.
My bad.
Yeah, it's got regular subtitles. So it is on, I guess, some weird versions on YouTube. It's on Zumo Play, Tubi, Fandango at Home, Plex, all for free. Amazon Prime wants you to rent or buy it. It might be free on there.
Do it. Don't fucking do it.
Check that. It might be free with ads there as well. But yeah, you can definitely watch this movie for free. I think I watched it on Tubi. So
nice.
My initial thoughts are, I liked the basic plot and a lot of the performances, but the effects are shit. it's always described as an independent film, so I think this guy just didn't have the budget. I think he had some interesting ideas, but just didn't have the budget to execute them well. And the CGI just looks bad.
It's so bad.
I think there might be a few places where it's a puppet or something, but it's the monsters.
Yeah.
Not only is the monster CGI, but the ships are CGI. They clearly had access to a ship, but did not have the ability or permission to take the ship out on the water.
Yeah.
Because there's some scenes that are obviously shot on the deck of a real ship, but anytime we can see the ship on the water or any other battleships, it is CGI. And even the ships are bad because
so bad.
A rigid, smooth thing like a ship should be much easier to do CGI of, even on a budget, than a moving, living creature. But even those ships are very clearly bad CGI. So
yeah, the first point that we see the CGI is when they don't know that it's a huge dragon sea monster, but they shoot the kaiju, and my first note with the CGI is bummer monster cry, bummer CGI, because he kind of lets out a cry, and the CGI is just so bad.
Right. So let's get into the plot. Of course, I didn't make extensive notes. We have a summary from Wikipedia. Thank you, Wikipedia.
I did make some notes.
Okay.
So we'll see how it goes.
So, and this is in September 1942, Captain Yamagami is ordered to rendezvous the Yamato with the combined fleet that is gathering at the Truk Islands, a.k.a. Chuuk Islands, in Micronesia, a key strategic point in the South Pacific. But before that, we get some, so they're just kind of jumping into it and glossing over it. But we see a young man and a girl that may or may not.
Before that, even before the young man and the girl, we see the couple with the baby, and they pray for a penis, or he prays for a baby with a penis.
Right, right. Do we get a quick kaiju attack first? I don't remember. It's been a few weeks.
No, we don't get a kaiju attack first, but we do get a rundown of how the ship, the fleet, becomes the treaties and the battleships, and we get a little bit of a rundown before we do see any people, but no kaiju attack. We just kind of we do see the kaiju visually kind of right off the bat with some music, which is cool, but then it just goes straight to this pregnant couple. She's running and she's like, why won't the Navy wait for us to have this baby? And he's like, how would the Navy know we're gonna have a baby? And then they're praying, and he's like, what are you gonna pray for? And she's like, I can't tell you or it won't come true. And then he's like, give us a baby with a penis. And she's like, stop that. And he's like, penis.
Yes.
Yeah,
he's being very crude. He's not even, he's being very crude about it. Instead of just saying, please let me have a male child, he's saying a baby with a penis. So,
I'm not going to lie. It did make me laugh.
It'd be funny as the child was intersex, and God's like, well, that's what you asked for. Should have been more specific. Sorry, I apologize for that joke.
Oh, Lord.
So, yes, they go into the temple, they're praying, but establishing that he's about to go to sea and he has a wife, a pregnant wife. Then there's a young guy and a young girl. It's clear they like each other, but he's not coming right out and,
Well, the words say women suck, but the music says, I love you, you little crybaby ass bitch.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he's trying to act like, oh, we're just childhood friends and everybody, but I love you. So.
But oops, I tripped and fell on top of you. Let's stare into each other's eyes lovingly.
Right. But yeah, they're saying goodbye because he's about to get shipped off. And
to war.
And I think there's some stuff with his mother too. I think
It's his grandmother.
His grandmother.
Yeah.
So so they're just establishing that, you know, they're trying to make us care about these people before they go off to get killed by a kaiju, or the war, whichever comes first.
Right.
And there's some stuff with the other girls asking. She's just like, she's still in school. She's a schoolgirl. She's got a schoolgirl uniform. But yeah, he's probably 18 and she's 16 or 17 and still in school. But he's got to go to war.
Yeah.
Although by this time in the war, they may have been drafting younger and younger guys.
Yeah, who knows? This movie is Japanese, but it gives big like K-drama vibes, like with the music and like how dramatic everyone is and like the acting and stuff.
Well, they're
very dramatic.
J-drama might be the same. It's just for whatever reason not super popular with the kids these days.
Oh, okay.
You know, like J-pop and K-pop are, to me anyway, are not that different, but for whatever
Gasp, you monster.
I
I'm
know.
kidding. I don't know the fucking difference.
I'm just saying, for whatever reason, what I mean is there's a lot of J-pop. But for whatever reason, the K-pop has caught on with the American kids more recently than the J-pop. And yeah, the Korean soap operas have caught on with them, but the Japanese certainly have soap operas. But who knows why these things happen? Anywho, they're ordered to go meet up with the combined fleet. With beautiful clear skies above and surrounded by coral reefs below, the South Seas paradise becomes a strong base for the combined fleet and the front lines of the naval war, a place where many fierce battles were fought. Decades later, the seabed surrounding the Truk Islands is still littered with the remains of more than 60 warships and airplanes. Okay. So whoever wrote this summary is inserting a little educational material in here. This is not part of the plot of the movie. Good Lord. Among Yamagami's crew is the cantankerous divisional officer Noboru Osaku, who I believe is the guy with that's having the baby, and young ensign Takeshi Kaido, who is the young man.
Which is the guy on the beach. Yeah.
Unsure of what the future may bring, Kaido went off to war without declaring his intentions for his childhood sweetheart. Here we go, Chai Kojima. He always carries her photo in his coat pocket, while Chai longs for his return to their seaside hometown. Cute. When the Yamato arrives at Truk, the married Osako decides to ease his worries over leaving behind a pregnant wife by sneaking an island woman named Momoko aboard ship for some private recreation. Wow.
Titties.
What a nice way to say this guy cheats on his wife with a prostitute while he's off at sea.
And for some reason, the prostitute feels it important to bring her dad or her grandpa,
yes.
I think it is.
Yes.
Who is our kind of like bingo square old man who knows the legend, you know? Mm-hmm. So that's cool.
Yep. But to Osako's annoyance, Momoka brings along her elderly grandfather. Oh, that's Mickey Curtis. Okay. He was definitely Japanese, but, you know, maybe he's Japanese-American or something and has an American father. I don't know. Because we'll get to the American in a moment. Mm-hmm. Who insists on telling him a local tale about monsters that has been passed down for generations. The disbelieving naval officer is told that the surrounding waters are home to man-sized carnivorous bonefishes.
Bonefish.
And as dangerous as the fish are, they are nothing more than an opening act. What? For an even greater menace, the legendary Hell
Dragon.
Hell King of the Seas called Reigo. Yeah, they're sort of harbingers of Reigo. The bonefish precede Reigo. Never really explained why. They just do.
Gang.
The next night, a lookout spots a massive shape half submerged in the distance. Believing it to be
before we get there, we got to talk about like the captain, I guess, of the ship is like going over shit with everybody, and he's like, "All right, guys, this is what's gonna happen. We're gonna go through this thing. We're gonna pretend like we're just trading goods. There could be like, firing. So I need you to be prepared. Also, whoever's fucking gambling on the ship, knock it the fuck off." And we all know who the gambler is because he looks so guilty.
Yep. This guy's just nothing but shenanigans. Head
He
to toe.
is nothing but shenanigans.
Head to toe shenanigans.
If you let them shenan once, they'll shenan again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Thank you for that. The next night, a lookout spots a massive shape half submerged in the distance. Believing it to be an enemy submarine, the Yamato fires on it and scores a direct hit. Osako is shocked, I tell you, when the object emits a strange cry as it sinks beneath the waves.
I do love Reigo's noises. I really do. They're good.
You're always much more into the kaiju noises than I am. So it emits a strange cry and sinks beneath the waves. He reports the incident and the story of Reigo to his commander and shipmates. Unbeknownst to the crew, they have killed the offspring of Reigo. I don't think I got that at all.
I kind of did. I didn't know if it was like the offspring, but it was like a smaller, like when he sinks and then the like bigger one like goes down to him.
Okay.
Like he gets shot, like lets out a cry. Here's my bummer CGI, bummer monster cry. No, and he like the whole like ocean turns red with blood, and then he like sinks down to the bottom, and then a bigger one, probably his mother, like goes down after him. And,
well, here's the thing. I watched this movie like a month ago.
Yeah, I watched it like last week.
So I guess I just forgot that part. So this is another Grendel Gorgo situation. Let's see. Not long after that first encounter, a school of luminous bonefish launch themselves from the water like flying fish and attack a group of soldiers standing watching the Yamato's deck. I saw Bonefish open for Blink 182. They were great.
Oh, that's funny. But before that happens, before the attack happens, the captain or whoever's in charge is like, "You guys did a great job last night. Hell yeah, brother. Let's party." And everyone's like, "Woo!" And they have this like little party where they're like singing and dancing and having like a ball. And someone is like telling them about this Reigo thing, and they kind of have this intense moment, and they're like listening. He's like, "Do you think it's real?" And they all kind of pause, and one of them just goes, "No, it's crap." And they're just like laughing. And then the guy's like, "I'm having a boy, and I'm naming him Power." I'm like, oh god, this guy really just sucks. And then he drunk vomits right over the side of the ship, and they find the American Navy guy before the attack on their ship. So they find the American Navy guy, then the attack happens after they already have him like locked up as a prisoner of war. And body parts everywhere. Love to see it.
So yeah, they rescue apparently the monster tore up an American ship, and they rescue an American sailor who is very clearly not American. This young man is, well, it's an independent film, no budget. Nobody involved in this film knew a white guy who had any sort of degree of acting talent. Clearly, because this is very clearly a Japanese man speaking Japanese.
Well, he says he says, "I know a little bit of Japanese,"
right?
And says like 2 words in English and then speaks Japanese,
right?
Which is fine. He could still be American.
No,
America is like a boiling pot of crazy differentness.
They take one look at. Well, he does have a uniform. No, but in World War II. Remember, in World War II, they locked up all the Japanese Americans. I'm pretty sure that there were almost no. I think Mr. Miyagi did serve in the Air Force in Karate Kid. I do think, or maybe
Well, there
he
you
served.
go, America.
Or
Way to
no,
fuck
no,
it
wait.
up.
Mr. Miyagi might have been in the Japanese Air Force, though. Anyway, yes, there were not many, if any, Japanese Americans in the military in World War II because they put them all in concentration camps. Fuck you, Franklin Delano. Fuck you, FDR. Fuck you, President Roosevelt.
Fuck you with a rake.
Yeah. So anyway, but the thing is, the few words he says in English have a very heavy Japanese accent. So I'm just like, that guy is not American. It just seemed like they made pretty much no effort to convince any American watching this film. I don't know if any Japanese people, I highly doubt any Japanese person watching this film thought for a minute that guy was American. Or that I think even a person who, and lots of Japanese know a little bit of English, but I think even a Japanese person with almost no understanding of English, when they heard that guy talk, they must have known that that's not an American saying those English words.
Well, it's called acting.
Well, I think it's called bad acting. Anyway, yeah, I just thought that was just really highlighted the low budget nature of this film, that they couldn't find one white guy to be in it. But somehow did find a Japanese guy with a very American name.
Fuck yeah.
Okay, so where were we?
So 2 dead, 10 missing, the ship gets
Yes.
attacked, body parts everywhere, and then they ask him, was your ship attacked by something? And they have this moment where they're like, you're a gunner? I'm a gunner too.
Right.
And
so yeah, there's a they act like flying fish and attack a group of soldiers standing watch on the Yamato's deck. Kaido hears their screams and rushes to the rescue, but finds the men already torn to pieces. Just as the old man predicted, the bonefish herald the arrival of Reigo, a beast 80 meters long and resembles a cross between Godzilla and a shark. Seething with rage at the murder of its cub, the monster attacks the combined fleet with incredible ferocity and awesome destructive power. The naval forces are caught off guard, and Reigo is able to destroy escort ships and damage the Yamato before returning to the ocean depths.
And then, randomly, out of fucking nowhere, Eye Patch Guy shows up.
Yeah.
And please tell me, why is Eye Patch Guy the only guy who gets sound effects?
What kind of sound effects?
Well, everything he does, like he buttons his shirt, he gets a sound effect. He takes a step, boom, 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 boom. He just like randomly gets sound effects.
He gets Foley work and no one else does.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Where
did you come from, and why do you get sound effects?
I did not notice that.
It bothered me so much.
Wow,
I'm like,
yeah,
who the fuck is this guy? Why?
Yeah, I don't remember who. I think he was from somewhere else in the he was over the captain. He must have been a commodore or an admiral or something. But he must have come off of one of the other ships. The crew quickly regroups and plans a counterattack, but when Reigo returns, it manages to stay one step ahead of the Japanese forces, almost as if it is aware that the Yamato's main guns are long-range weapons which are ineffective up close. The monster attacks at close range or blasts the ship from underwater with blue bursts of electricity. So yeah, the ship's guns just can't point down far enough to hit something that's right up against the ship. They're meant to lob their shells at other ships farther away. Thoughts of family and lovers back home, fear at being confronted by an unknown enemy, conflict and confrontation explode among the officers and crew over the best battle strategy to use against the threat of Reigo. Man, whoever wrote this summary got very poetic about it. Over Osako's loud objections, Kaido suggests a last-ditch plan to attack that will either stop Reigo or sink the Yamato. Hey, why not both? Now, now the stage is set for a final battle to unfold between the world's largest battleship and the mysterious dragon-like monster that glides through the sea at will. That's a back of the box promo description. That's not because it doesn't tell us how. Okay,
well, they argue between poison and torpedoes.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do?
His plan is to open the bilges and flood one side of the ship so it will tilt enough in the water to shoot the guns directly at the monster, which...
Yeah, but the thing is this is... Okay, first of all, this, someone, brings the, Captain News, and he's, eating a melon, and I guess the news pisses him off, and he just starts beating the shit out of his melon, which I was like, this is hilarious. And then they go and get, let's see. They're like, we're going to use gunfire, electric charge, eye patch guy is like, what could go wrong? And then they get, this guy, this teacher, apparently. And they're like, okay, you're in charge of this, shit. And they, what is his name? Takeshi is one of his students, and he's like, okay, remember that idea that you had that was ridiculed and really stupid before? Okay, I want you to tell everyone in here what it is,
right?
Because I think it might work. And then he tells them, and they all laugh at him, and he's like, oh, sorry I embarrassed you, LOL.
Yeah. I think so. Was this guy? Was he his teacher in civilian life, but now he's in?
Yes.
Yeah. Now everybody's in the military, but they knew each other from before the war. He had proposed this plan in a paper in class or something, I think.
Yeah.
So he had proposed this theoretical strategy. I don't know, in military class or whatever. Who knows? But this is what they end up using, is to try to flood the ship and tilt it enough. Maybe in the future build guns that can tilt down a little further. But in real life, no one's expecting a kaiju to come attack the ship. And nobody does pirate style. Well, maybe they do. At least in World War II, nobody was doing broadsides and boarding parties. They weren't pulling right up next to the ship, shooting their cannons right in each other's faces and swinging over to the other ship on ropes. They were attacking each other from a distance.
And at this point too, we get Chai wrote a letter, and for some reason it's blacked out, like a censor pen, I think is what they say.
Yes. And that's the thing.
But then we hear her read it. I don't understand. What was that?
Okay, so not just in Japan, but in America, if you wrote a letter home, it would go through a military censor first. And if they saw anything that looked like you were giving away sensitive information, secret military information. Hi, honey, we're stationed at Island X for the next 2 weeks. Anything that could possibly be intercepted or anything that could give away secrets, they would mark it out. They would redact it with a black pen and then put the letter back and send it on. So sometimes you'd get a letter and parts of it would be blacked out. Hello, honey, I am at blank. We've been here for blank. Everybody says we're going to blank, but I'm not sure. I think we might be going to blank. So yeah, there's was hers almost completely blacked out?
It was almost completely blacked out. There was only 2 lines that weren't blacked out, but we get her reading the whole letter. So he doesn't get to know what it says, but we do.
So that was meant to be a joke, I think, that he had either the censor was being over enthusiastic or he was just talking too much. So it's like, dear so-and-so, black page.
But it was from her.
No, it was to her.
No, it was from her. He got her. Oh, I guess how would it have gotten to him? I guess you're right. So why is he holding it then? Why is he holding it and it's black? and then I guess she reads the whole thing. I don't know. It was confusing to me. But I guess it's because I didn't know about the like censor pen thing.
I remember it as she was reading a letter he sent, but when she got it, it was like, dear, what's her name? Black line, black line, black line, black line. Yours truly. And that was meant. I took that as a joke about how much they would redact things.
Okay.
There normally wouldn't be any reason to censor a letter from home to the soldier.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, that's what that was about. So, what I remember is, so you talked about the prisoner of war, the American, is also a gunner. And, this monster's been killing a lot of people. So when they come up with they finally decide to do the crazy plan. And our philandering gambler is like, oh, the prisoner's a gunner. Go get him. He'll help, because we're all gonna die. He'll help us because he's gonna get killed by this thing too. So the two of them work together, and they kind of pull off their crazy plan, but we know, historically the Yamato sank, and I'm pretty sure everybody on it died. So in the end, they kill the monster, but they end up sinking anyway.
Yeah.
And which I don't know. I feel like is this movie offensive to
maybe
to the families of people that actually died, just like Titanic was? To the families of people that actually died on the Yamato, to say, no, they didn't die valiantly fighting in the war. They died valiantly fighting a fucking monster. I just don't know. I don't know if this was well received in Japan, or they made a sequel and then another one, so I guess people liked it. But I could kind of see somebody taking offense at this, kind of turning my ancestors' death into a joke.
Well, they do have a moment where they're like firing, and like Reigo's like obviously dying, and they're like, cease fire, like he can no longer fight, let him die in peace and with dignity, don't torment him. And I kind of felt like, oh shit, well is that like symbolic of something? This is a real ship, and it did actually, I don't know, but then they all die. They're like, back to war, except then they all die anyways.
Yeah, so I couldn't remember if they sank because of the monster or if they sank because of getting shot by an American ship.
Well, they have in this moment, too, they have this, like, if our minds hadn't become one and we hadn't worked together, we would have never beat them. He would have been... Like, and then they're like, they're having this conversation, like, we would have never been able to defeat the kaiju, but the U.S. will be harder to defeat. And then it's like 2 years later, Yamato sank. So they die in war.
Okay.
They don't die because of the monster.
Right. I had forgotten that part. So they don't sink at that moment.
No, it's 2 years later.
Okay. All right. So they were running around doing shit during the rest of the war. Put that guy back in the brig, eventually took him to a prisoner of war camp, and eventually he probably survived.
Yeah,
he was probably sat out the rest of the war in a prisoner of war camp and eventually went home to America. They all sank and died. So then our movie cuts to what, 5 years? 5 years later, or I don't know if they say. So we cut to Chai going to the temple to basically light some incense, I think, in remembrance of her dead boyfriend, who was never her proper boyfriend. But
R.I.P. Takeshi.
Yeah, but we also see, I don't know if you caught this, we see a mother with a
son,
with a 5-year-old or so boy, and he's saying something about daddy. They let us know, in case we forgot what his wife looked like. he says something about Daddy dying in the war or something to let us know
it's like his
that
death
he did
anniversary.
Yes, it was 5 years ago or whatever since Daddy died. So he did have the child with a penis that he wanted. He got, but that boy never knew his father, which is a very sad thing. But on the other hand, his father was a philandering, gambling dickwad. So maybe in the long run, he's better off never having to live with the arguments between his mother and... if he had come back from the war, eventually that kid was going to have to hear an argument about, you're coming home drunk again, and I can smell the whores on you. You
gambling piece of shit.
Yeah. What did you? There's no food in the refrigerator because you gambled away your paycheck again, you useless piece of shit. So it's really better all around that he died in the war. Oh my God! So there you go. There's Deep Sea. You can call me Deep Sea Monster Reigo, or you can call me Shinkaiju Reigo. But you doesn't have to call me Mr. Reigo.
Oh my gosh, that is
Mother
so funny.
Hubbard.
How many stars? How many stars are you?
It's a hard one. I don't remember what I rated it. I can't remember what I rated it on Letterboxd. Let me go. I'm just gonna look, folks. Bear with us again. Once again, no editing in this episode, folks. What do you want for nothing? I had COVID, for fuck's sake. Where's my diary?
Oh shit!
I gave it 3 stars on Letterboxd, so I will stand by that. 3 stars, folks, means it was okay.
Yeah, I was also gonna give it 3 stars.
It was
I
okay.
thought about 2, but I did like some of the people, and I did like the kaiju. I thought the kaiju was pretty dope.
Yeah, folks, if you haven't, because I haven't said it in a while, I use what used to be Netflix's rating designation. They changed it. Now it's just thumbs up or double thumbs up. Netflix now has thumbs down, thumbs up, or double thumbs up. But to them, it used to be 1 star means I hated it, 2 is I didn't like it, 3 is it was okay, 4 is I liked it, and 5 is I loved it. So
Yeah.
it was okay. It was okay. If
The
the
quality
CGI
of the movie is kind of shit, but the movie itself is okay.
if the effects had been better, it would have been, I think, 4 stars.
Yeah, for sure.
So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Our movie next week will be Rock Monster.
Oof.
Which I would like to apologize for now, ladies and gentlemen, but it was on our list. Let's see, where's Rock Monster? Rock Monster! It is available on Hulu and YouTube with a premium subscription. And that might be it. It was a sci-fi original motion picture, so it was a TV movie, so it's not on that many things. But if you got the Hulu, it's on there. Good luck with that. So, folks, if you enjoyed the show, please rate and review us. Follow us on mmftg.com for the links to all our things. Roll20 lady, if you're out there, send us a message. Until next week, I have been Precious D.
And I have been Honey Bee.
Remember to keep calm and take shelter in basements.
And please, don't misuse science.
We won't see you, but you will hear us next time on Monster Movie Fun Time Go. You've been listening to Monster Movie Fun Time Go. If you enjoyed the show, please rate and review us on your podcasting platform of choice. Our theme song is by the Texicano folk rock punk featuring Rita Lopez. You can support the show, find links to our social media, and leave us a voice message at anchor.fm/MNFTG. Reigo, 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 and Reigo was his name-o.